But I do need to ask you a question. I'll ask my guest this as well. Who is the best geezer in your life? Andrea. Who's the best geezer in your life?
Well, at the moment, I have to say James, Caroline, and all the geezer
Clever
crew.
answer. Very clever. I like the way you played that there, Andrea. Smart. Caroline, best geezer in your life?
Oh, well, it has to be James Smith, who is not only the director of Best Geezer, but he might also be married, so...
Oh, might be. James,
Ooh,
who's the best geezer in your life?
Yeah, that's a difficult one, isn't it? I think it has to be Darren Tassel, who is the lead geezer in our film. But he's a super guy from London. But yeah, he's kind of the guy that put a load of effort into this crazy film. And he's loud and full of energy, but like you actually.
Everything you. Thank you very much. I'm taking it as a compliment. I don't know if it is, but I'm taking it one. Listen. I think you do need those people in your life, of course. Full of vigour, full of energy as well. Andrea Rose, or Pat, as you are known in the film, alongside Caroline Spence, who plays Zoranda, also writer of the film too. And James Smith is with me to talk all things Best Geezer, which is film which you can get your eyes and ears around when I tell you where to find it soon. But there is a premiere in London this Friday night. If you would like to make your way there, you probably could. I'll get the details for you in a moment. But, Caroline, I'm a nosy so-and-so. I always like to know how people find their way to where they are today. Which storyteller, for you, kind of cemented themselves in your mind as being a great when you first discovered film? Was there a particular person who was making... And I say stories because I don't necessarily want to keep it to film. Maybe if it was books when you were younger. Was there one particular person that stood out?
You said there would be no trick questions. I haven't prepared...
No, I said no trick questions, not no tricky questions.
I can't really pinpoint anybody specific.
Okay.
Because I did, grow up being an avid reader of, any kind of books, adventure stories and... The old lovely Enid Blyton when I was a kid, of course, like a lot of us. And then I've been watching films ever since I was a kid. In the days when I grew up, in the 70s, on the television they used to play lots of old movies, reruns from all eras, from way back in the day. From the Johnny Weissmuller Tarzans, and then the Abbott and Costellos and Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin films and Elvis.
Was there any style that particularly kind of took your fancy when you were younger?
Not really. I guess I always loved the old Hollywood movies, the glamour puss movies with Lauren Bacall and Betty Davis and that lot. They're always, I just sort of like a lot of kids, very impressionable. You're like, oh wow, what wonderful life they used to live back then, and it wasn't all.
Like another universe, isn't it? When you watch it, when you're younger and you haven't got those tainted eyes of an adult. Sorry, guys, but that's what happens. You see it as a sort of almost like a fantasy land, don't you? The worlds that these movies are kind of set in. Whereas actually, when you get a little older, you start to realise that they're sort of set in real places or real times in the past. Or even the future too. James, same question for you. Was there a particular storyteller or
filmmaker?
Yeah.
I kind of grew up on. I grew up in Cape Town, actually, in South Africa, and we had drive-in movies there. So we kind of used to go out at the weekend with the family. Used to plug this radio thing into the car and sort of eat hot dogs and things like that, and see this massive screen in front of you. And as a child, it was amazing. But I think we actually got in to see some sort of adult films as well. Not. Don't worry, folks.
I know exactly what you meant. It's fine. But thank you for covering it.
Grown-ups, grown-up films. So like the Pink Panther, things like that with Peter Sellers, and this was a 70s, showing my age here. But so I was inspired by that. Really, the drama of seeing it on the big screen.
But it's because there's the big screen kind of thing for you, which again, I think does make a huge difference. Some films need to be watched on a big screen.
Yeah,
definitely. And others you can sort of get away with. I guess our televisions at home have got so much better over the last decade, let alone 30, 40 years, than actually you can watch a pretty good, film at home and still feel like you're kind of immersed in it as well. Andrea, for you, assuming you found film when you were a little younger, was there an actor that you particularly kind of gravitated towards that you kind of thought, I'd like to be like them?
There wasn't no individual person, but as growing up, I grew up in the 70s, not to give my age away, but I was brought up watching like things like Charlie's Angels, Heart to Heart, and Sapphire and Steel, and I loved all the like supernatural programs, and even now, although I'm mad on horror, but I do love like...
Not you as well, Andrea.
Oh, yeah. Need to do the scare acting. But no, I liked Supernatural, which was an American TV series, finished now, and that was my best. But I do also love like things like The Greatest Showman and Dirty Dancing.
Because you can't beat things, because you can't beat fun films like that. I mean, I mentioned it to Sadie Nine a little earlier on in my voice note to her, but like I saw both Barbie and Oppenheimer at the weekend. And people had asked me which you prefer. I went, neither. Like, they're both actually as good as, in my opinion, they're both as good as each other. One is a very kind of iconic storyline, which, you know, not many people know the history of. And Oppenheimer was also great. It was about 3 hours long and you didn't notice a second of it. You know, you really didn't notice that you were sat there for 3 hours watching this story unfold in front of you. But they had their sort of their own, you know, things that worked for them. So do you remember any of you where you first realised film could be a thing you did? Like you could be involved in filmmaking? Because I remember the moment when someone said to me, like, this was a job. And I've bored listeners with this thousands of times over, but I didn't think radio presenting was a job until I was about 20. When someone went, oh no, all the ones you hear on Radio 1, on Capital and everything else, I mean, they all started as student radio. You if you start and work your way up, there's every chance you could. Guess who somehow blagged his way all the way over here. Andrea, for you, do you remember the moment when you realised that you could be an actor and you could be in films?
Well, funny enough, originally I used to want to be a dancer back in my school days, but various things happened and that didn't come off. And then I went to see my niece in a theatre show, and that's when I realised, I'd really love to do something like this. And then, just opportunity came my way. It was a horror film done in Brentwood called Welcome to Essex. That was the very first film I got involved in. And then I realised how much I liked horror, how much I liked acting, and then it just stemmed from there, really.
One thing led to another, and here you are in Best Geezer.
Indeed.
Which, of course, we'll talk about more in a moment. James, for you, do you remember when you first realised you could write a film and you could be involved in cinema?
Well, I think with me, I kind of morphed over the years into what I'm doing. So, I've done various jobs in computers and, marketing and that kind of thing. But I've always been very artistic and I was interested in painting and sketching. And then the technology side didn't really worry me because of the computer background. So when the video revolution came and everyone had handy cameras and things like that, I thought, there's an opportunity. And I think that's pretty much where I started getting involved in it.
I've never really thought of it like this, but the video camera, the portable video camera, which was probably tail end of the 70s, start of the 80s, pretty much revolutionised the way movies are today, because it meant most of us generally, I'm very generalising here, could suddenly get access to something which could capture film in a way that we'd never had access to before. And I'm only just realising this now, live on BBC. It's a good moment to have that realisation, isn't it? Wow, that's genuinely blowing my mind, because I'm very lucky to talk to people like yourselves and many other filmmakers.
Yeah, I mean, those little camcorders with the flip-out screens. Yeah. It's featured in Best Geezer actually, because we poke fun at the use of those cameras. But they did revolutionise it in a way, because people, kids started running around saying, "Oh, well, I can make a film," which they did. And like Blair Witch is a good example.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then when those things got a bit more advanced and more sophisticated, we had films like Open Water, which is a shark film. And that was filmed basically on a video camera, and that was a turnaround really for the industry. It
really opened the door up, and I think it's also now, when we've got these little devices which we've got in our pockets half the time, we've now got really good technology at our fingertips, and we don't have to have Hollywood budgets for them, which is a good thing. There's nothing wrong. I'm not going to sit here and get involved in the discussions about writing right now and all that, but the point is, you need huge blockbusters and you need independent films, and you need both levels of that for them both to exist. They kind of in synchronicity. Caroline, do you remember the moment you realised that you could be a filmmaker?
Well, it was a bit like what James said. It kind of morphed into it. I didn't really realise I could possibly do anything like this until I was in my 40s. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an actress, but I was too shy to tell anybody.
Why?
Because I was too shy. I just thought I'd never told my parents because I thought they'd just laugh at me, to be honest.
So I'm interested because this is one thing I really want to try and be a part of in my small way, is trying to open the door wider for, certainly for young people who don't feel like they have the access to certain things. But for me, I didn't realise there was a door for radio, and I mean it was by accident I kind of discovered it. But it sort of annoys me a little bit that we have, that people don't realise they could do anything. And I know it's a really simple thing for me to sit here and say, and there's lots of reasons why people don't pursue it. I get that, but I want everyone to understand about how old you are. Like you said you were in your 40s before you kind of really found like you could be in film, you can make film yourself. It doesn't matter if you're 14 right now, 40, or maybe you've got a bus pass. If you want to do it, you can do it.
But that's now. I mean, I'm talking about back in the 70s. We didn't have the opportunities or the that kind of mindset. It was kind of, I guess, where I grew up. Perhaps it's just more of a traditional thing. If you're a girl, you kind of like went into being a secretary, and that was it. Yeah. But having said that has changed. But having said that, all the skills I learned doing that secretarial work and all these hundreds of jobs that I hated, the skills I've learned I'm now using to produce films. So it was never wasted. And it's very, very valuable skills to have.
You've made the most of all those opportunities, even if you didn't like them at the time.
Exactly.
Everyone can learn a lesson. See, every day's a school day on this programme. That's one thing I'll always say. The deliberate move tonight was to bring my flat cap in, because I thought maybe, just maybe, on the outside chance that there's a sequel to Best Geezers, I might get an extra role, Don't want any lines, because let's be honest, producer Adam can confer this one. I don't follow lines ever. But I do have Caroline and James, writers of Best Geezer, and Andrea with us tonight, who acts in it as Pat the receptionist. But, by the way, I'm not being like, there's no misogyny going on here. That is genuinely the character's name, isn't it? It's Pat the receptionist. It wasn't just me being a sexist pig or anything like that. Andrea, actually, that brings me nicely. What is your favourite line from the film? And it doesn't have to be one of yours. If there's another line that you kind of really like hearing.
I suppose when everyone goes, geezers, geezers.
Nice. Also, I realised I should have probably asked for a clean line, but Andrea knows. Andrea knows the game. She understands.
There is a bit of swearing in the film.
There's a couple of fruity words in there as well. I mean, we wanted that one for sure. I think it's because in films there are moments in it that kind of everyone has their little moment which it kind of stirs up an emotion, whatever the film is, whether it's something that's like dark and gritty, whether it's something a bit more sort of romantic and comedic, or an action film. Every film has its little moments. For you, James, is there a particular moment which you, I don't know, maybe which makes the heart go a little quicker or something?
There is. It's performed by an actor, fabulous guy called Toby Sauerbeck, and he's based in London.
Caroline already knows the line you're talking about here.
Everyone already knows the line, and I can feel people getting nervous in their seats, but no. He basically says, let me get this right, I'm going to kick, insert swear word here, your, insert swear word, head in. Okay. So I think that's the level of humour we're at, really. Yeah. It's kind of basic stuff.
Yeah. Caroline, I mean, let's go for the hat trick. Favourite line or a particular moment from the film which for you kind of stands out as being, I don't know, just something that's kind of really powerful for you?
I guess it's probably the same scene that James is talking about with the actress that is the Tony Sauerbeck and this other actress, she's Hannah Temperton. They're playing actors within the film, they're being filmed, and she, there is a swear word in this one as well, but she's like, I'm insert swear word, calling Craig nah, in a pure Essex accent, which I can't do so well. But within the context of that scene, it just cracks me up every time. I don't know if anybody else finds it funny.
But it doesn't. But here's the thing. I think, I talk a lot with various creatives about whatever it is they do. No matter what you make and how you see it in your mind, everyone that hears or sees that piece of art will interpret it in their own way. They'll apply their own experiences from life to it. They'll take away different things. There'll be people who watch Best Geezer and take away something that not one of you or anyone else in the cast or crew will have seen, because they'll just associate something in it with something they can relate to. And you have no control over it at that point. You've made the film.
Yeah, that is so
true, and what's quite nice is that it's now no longer your film, as I say delicately.
We were in the standing at the back of the Southend Film Festival a couple of months ago where it was premiered. And, the audience was really quiet, and we were looking at the screen and thinking, oh, is this bit going to work, and is that bit going to work? And the interesting thing about film is you some bits work and some bits don't, and you just don't know which bits they are. So the bits that we thought, we're going to get a big laugh here, it was silence, wasn't it? And then other bits, they were, it was great. So, but it's almost like a mysterious kind of art form in that you plan something and it works out another way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just another sidetrack thought, but I watched Monsters, Inc. again for the millionth time a couple of weeks ago. It is 20 years old, and only on the last time I watched it did I realise it's about the energy crisis we're going through as a globe, a planet now. Right. And honestly, it blows my mind. I was like, how many times have I seen this film? And I never saw that until this time round. I'm like, it's about the energy crisis. It's about finding... honestly. And it was written in 2001, 2002, released in 2003. Mm. And again, it just makes me appreciate films that I've loved for 10 years, 20 years, or even films I grew up as a kid with, or brand new films I watch today. They mean something today, but in a year's time, they could mean something totally different. And in 5 years' time, they could mean something even more, and a completely different thing from there as well, which I kind of love. Kind of love the fact that once you've told a story, it has its moment it was set in, had its moment it was made in, but beyond that, you're in no more control over it. So, I mean, let's not miss the opportunity to talk about what the film kind of is about. So, Caroline, James, we haven't done that yet. I realise I've been jabbering away for 20 minutes. Caroline, give us an overview, the synopsis of the story. What is Best Geezer about?
Well, it's about three kind of video filmmakers. They run this dodgy corporate video company. I'm saying dodgy, it's just they're just not very good at it. And
they pay the taxes, they're just not very good.
They have these funny clients come in, and Andrea plays their receptionist. Yeah, and they hatch a plan to make a full-blown gangster film, a real geezer movie, because they idolise these movies and these particular iconic actors within the movies. So they decide to go and make this film and get their money from various dubious means. And of course, none of it goes to plan. And that's it in a nutshell.
That's fine. Listen, we are a spoiler-free show at all times. Certainly when we're previewing something as well, I never want to give away too much to it as well, because I think that's important. People have enough to kind of get their teeth into it. I'm going to check this out, and then from there. So you're in London on Friday for a premiere in London on the big screen. First time at a London premiere, Andrea?
It is for me. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah,
getting all dressed up.
Indeed, definitely.
Red carpet?
I don't know. Is there a red carpet?
I don't know. Is it bubbles? No, it's got to be some bubbles along the way somewhere. At least.
We'll have to make sure there is.
I don't think we could afford a red carpet this time, but in the next geezer film, maybe we can afford a red carpet.
If we had a new red carpet, I'd rip it up for you. You could take it. It'd be fine. But everything's blue in here for some reason. You can probably take some of the walls off. Actually, you take the walls off. Yeah, probably manifest one like that. So London is getting a premiere. So it was in Southend couple of months ago now. London Friday. Any more sort of screenings of it in the pipeline that there are dates that you can tell me about?
Well, we'd like to do more, but it's obviously very difficult. We're up against Oppenheimer and Barbie and that kind of thing.
They've been and gone now. Old news now.
They're all talking about Best Geezer now. So,
exactly. That was last weekend. It's all about Best Geezer this weekend.
Yeah, so Best Geezer's hot. If we can organise some more screenings, it would be great. We'll see how it goes on Friday.
Yeah, of course.
So, we want to pack it out, so people need to buy those tickets. It's not going too bad at the moment. And then if we can do more screenings, I think they will happen. I think there's a lot of people just want to see this. It's kind of a dramedy. It's not actually it's not like a gag movie.
Yeah.
And I think people like the drama side of it as well. So it's a proper story throughout the film. We'll show it anyway, won't we? If we can get the publicity, the money.
So I'm wondering, being that it's got that kind of London Essex kind of joint collaboration, really kind of in the feel and the vibe of the whole thing as well, set in Essex. I know, because that's where I've lived all my life. Like, my dad grew up in East London, so I've got that sort of half London, half Essex kind of thing to me as well. And we all obviously get it. I wonder how far you can take a film like Best Geezer and people understand it the way we do.
Well, it's interesting you say that, actually, because the composer, this guy called Sean Finnegan, he's in New York, and we sent him the rushes, or the rough cut of the film, basically. And I thought, what's he going to think about this? And also, is he going to understand the actual language? The Essex humour, which, let's face it, is pretty dry, isn't it? And it's pretty sharp. But he absolutely loved it. And I was surprised how much he got it. But then I guess we get Bronx humour, New York, those sort of films, the wise guy films. But I think it has got legs, Geezer.
I think the Americans do love watching proper British programming and films, don't they? Because I don't know. I don't know what we do, but I don't know what it is about the stuff we make, but they lap it up.
I think it's kind of the guys are like the Guy Ritchie stuff. I mean, that's done really well over there, isn't it? But I think it's just it's a little bit different. It's unique to London and the East End, I think, and Essex, of course. But I think that's what it is. It's just everyone likes a good gangster movie. Come on.
Well, exactly. I don't think there's anyone that would disagree with that matter either. We have the London premiere to Best Geezer, written by Caroline and James, who are with us tonight, and acted in by Caroline and Andrea, who are with us tonight as well. Andrea, very quickly, was Pat the receptionist the kind of the character you sort of took one look at and went, that's definitely me. I've got my name all over that.
Well, actually, they offered the role to me, so I wasn't aware of it until then, because they had an idea for me, and I loved it.
That's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
When someone comes to you and says, Andrea, I've got a role for you. It's got your name all over it. I mean, not literally, because it's actually a different name, but like this is, and that's quite nice to know that you've obviously proven something that says like you fit this character we've got in our story.
Yeah, it was lovely, and James did give me an idea of how he wanted it played as well. So that
did he do a voice? Did he put a voice on for it? Because that's what I really want to know.
No, not really. No.
Oh, come on! That's what everyone wants to know. Isn't it? Everyone wants to know if exactly. These directors and writers come into the set and go, right, sit down with the actor and go, this is how I feel that line should be delivered, and then do a voice for it. That's the clips we really want to see on the DVD extras for sure.
I think he did do a little bit of a demonstration, if my memory serves me correct. He's very feminine demonstration.
Well, I don't know. I can do a lot of things, but acting isn't one of them, I'm afraid. So I can do the directing, but I'll leave the acting to the clever people.
Is that something that's I don't know? Is that something that's quite tricky when for you acting isn't necessarily something you particularly feel maybe confident in, or even like that versatile in? Because obviously being a director, you've got to kind of think of everyone's roles.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one because some directors, like Ben Affleck, he can act obviously brilliantly and he can do everything.
But he plays Ben Affleck in everything.
That's right, yeah.
He's like Owen Wilson. Yeah, he plays Owen Wilson in everything.
I thought I didn't really want to go there,
I'll go there, it's fine.
All those jets and limousines and all that, I couldn't really, So we thought we'd make Best Geezer and I'll just do the directing. But no, I think for me it's important just to stand back from it all and, especially when you've got a big cast like Best Geezer and they've all got different, characters. So I wouldn't want to imitate all of that lot. But it's just directing's my thing, and it's a certain discipline that I'm comfortable with. Yeah. But I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. So
and there are actors that wouldn't ever want to be a director, and I think it's really important. Just I try every time I think of this thought to actually say it out loud. But films, theatre shows, any art form is not the sum of one person. It's the sum of a team of people. That could be a team of 3 or 4. It could be a team of 3,500 people. It is the collective kind of input from everyone.
Definitely. It's definitely teamwork, and you have to have people on your side. You know, as a director, people can turn. You can get a mutiny. You know, that can happen.
Lose the dressing room.
I think we've had a few of them, but yeah, Giza was all right. We on Best Giza, lovely people from Essex, on Best Giza, and further afield as well, actually. But yeah, you need to be a real team player, and if people start to get annoyed with you or they're very tense, then that's not what you want. No. So I try to get people relaxed and. You know, and also impress on them that it's not too important. We're just making a film. You know, it's not heart surgery. We're not flying planes.
Oh, you wouldn't believe how many times I say that in the office here. I mean, we're only making radio. Come on, kids, let's behave ourselves. You know, we're here to be helpful, of course, but we're not performing brain surgery. And so sometimes you've got to remember what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're doing something if you're doing something that's enjoyable, creative, and fun. Try to remember that from time to time. It's hard, but you know. Now, the 2 more important questions before we finish up. Can people come Friday? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good news. So, fancy a London premiere? Boom. Yes, you do. Where is it? Where can people get the tickets from? Because I know there's some tickets for this.
Yeah, so on this coming Friday, it's at the Courthouse Hotel, which is at Great Marlborough Street.
Yeah, Mayfair.
In Mayfair. You can search on Eventbrite for Best Giza. Tickets are £15.
Bargain.
Hop, skip and a jump from Essex to London, so no excuses.
Tube stop is Oxford Circus, isn't it?
Yeah, Oxford Circus is the nearest tube.
And it's just around the corner.
Literally yards away. A lovely, lovely hotel. And it's a proper screen. It's a proper cinema screen. I think it's the...
You're not going to be huddled around a tablet, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be an iPad in the corner and everyone's got to huddle around with some Bluetooth headphones on or anything like that.
Some festivals do that. Yeah, we've heard some film festivals.
I've heard things like that as well, but I'm not saying anything about those because I'll get in trouble. So London, Friday night, Eventbrite for the tickets. If you just type in Best Giza, your phone will also correct Giza to the thing where the water comes out the ground. Just recorrect it, otherwise you'll find a different film premiere. You don't want that one. It's a documentary. It's quite long. It's about 8 hours. I can't disagree. It's actually quite interesting if you're into geology, but if you're not, you're going to be so tired and bored by the halfway point. And I guess. Is there any news of where this might be available for people to see, sort of, you know, from the comfort of their own homes, beyond the screening in London at all?
Yeah, well, we want to get it around as many festivals and screenings as we can on the big screen first, and then eventually it'll end up on streaming services, the big ones like Apple, Amazon. Don't know about Netflix. We must give them a call.
And we've got their number. We can give them a ring. We'll drop them a message.
BBC iPlayer. Perfect.
Exactly. Well, see, we should have an independent film section. I've got an email address. I've got an email address at least for sure.
Hustle for us.
Thanks for coming in. It's lovely to meet you all. But actually, my proper big thanks is to Andrea, because Andrea, you and I have spoken before on BBC Essex, and you were the one that dropped me an email to say, Rob, I'm in a new film, and can we come on? Yes, you can. Andrea, I just want to make the point that this is exactly what I want people to do. If you're in something where you want to shout about something you're doing in Essex, please just drop me an email, rob.jelly@bbc.co.uk, just like Andrew did. And happy to have you on the show to celebrate. Ultimately, it's about kind of lifting up the things that are being made in this county. It never ceases to amaze me, the incredible stuff that's being made. So thank you for getting in touch, Andrea. Much appreciated.
Thank you too.
James and Caroline, it's been lovely to meet you. Thank you for being a part of the show tonight.
Great to meet you.
Rare Films is the company that kind of you make feature films under. Rarefilms.co.uk?
Rarefilms.com.
.com. RAYA films.com. And you can find out more about the work that James and Caroline both do as well. Thank you so much. It's lovely to have you all in. But for now, night, everybody.
Bye.